and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And we find ourselves once again for this transfer roundup, pretty much starting with the saga of Richarlison once again. So the rumours have very much ramped up in the last 24 hours or so. Of course, yesterday, Bruno Andrade, a Portuguese journalist, reported that Tottenham have declared interest in Richarlison for around, and are looking to be paying around 50 million euros. These claims were kind of refuted by other sources around the club yesterday, but a bit more substance has been added to them today, with both Paul Joyce and Matt Law reporting that Everton would want a lot more than that. Obviously, you know, with us paying around 50 million when we signed him back in 2018, obviously that fee's obviously it's questioned a bit based on add-ons and stuff. I think the initial fee people reckon was around maybe 35, rising to 50, but we definitely paid around that area. And based on the fact he's undoubtedly gotten better and his pedigree has undoubtedly risen with getting into the Brazil side and whatever, winning the Olympics and all sorts since he joined us, the argument is that quite understandably we want quite a bit more than that. We'd want to make a profit on him because he's got better. That's kind of how it works. So that's basically the reports today. But there's also suggestions that there could be kind of wiggle room with us. Tottenham have suggestedly proposed Lucas Moura go in the opposite direction. And of course, with us being linked with Harry Winks as well, there's also speculation that he could be part of a deal to try and knock some money off it. I'm not keen on this at all, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think we need as much money as we can get, and I think we deserve to get around, you know, you're looking at about 60 to 70 million pounds for a player with, you know, pedigree. Brazil's number 9, of course, still young, probably about to hit his prime, you'd probably argue, in the next couple of years. And, you know, the impact he makes on us, you know, you want to get your money's worth, definitely. And I'm not keen on either of them in return. I know we've been linked with Harry Winks a lot, but I'd like to hope we're not genuinely interested in him. You know, 26 years old, not really of the quality we need, I'd argue. And Lucas Moura is similar, 29, very good player, don't get me wrong, but it's the type of thing that you could just imagine us in a couple of years having to try and shift. It would be a massive wage. He's almost certainly would be earning more than Richarlison is now. So that doesn't really make much sense to me. I hope we don't bow down to anything like that and stick by a price tag. I know we are quite desperate for money, which a lot of suggestions might mean that we end up having to settle for around 50 million pounds. So I hope that's not the case, and that we can try and at least soften the blow of Richarlison going by at least getting the money I feel we deserve in return. But moving on from him, of course, one of the biggest stories of the last few days was the shock decision of John Joe Kenny to reject a new deal at Everton, which it's kind of a blessing in disguise, if you ask me. I saw a lot of people weren't happy about this, but it's bizarre to me that people were quite understandably, I was one of them, unhappy that we were offering the supposed three-year deal to John Joe Kenny to basically play as a backup. And then are also unhappy when the contract doesn't get signed. I think I only see this as a good bit of news. I think it's good for him. I think it's the right decision for his career. And don't get me wrong, I don't particularly rate John Joe Kenny as a player, but as a bloke, he seems great, and he's always given his all in the 5 years or so he's been around the first team. And I wish him well. I think it's good to see a player with this level of ambition. And people always argue that that, you know, you don't want to play, like, any player that doesn't want to be here is welcome to go. But if he's clearly been told he's going to be like a third choice for either left or right back, and he's decided no, he wants better than that, I think all power to him. And I hope I wish him the best of luck for the rest of his career, which would appear the next move will be going to Hertha Berlin. Paul Joyce has also reported that he is set for a move to Hertha Berlin. And so, yeah, we'll see where that one goes. Obviously, he was at Schalke a few years ago at loan. He was rather liked over there in Germany. So hopefully he can kickstart his career over there if that move does go ahead. Moving on, the Sunday People have suggested that both Porto and Benfica are after Andre Gomes, and with the midfielder keen to return to Portugal. I have no idea why they're interested in him, but all power to him. Let's I think we can pretty much all safely say we want this deal to go ahead. Best for probably the best case scenario for all involved. He's on a lot of wages that he, let's be honest, probably doesn't really deserve. So fingers crossed there are legs to this story, I'd say. So that's for the Sunday people. And sticking in Portugal, a newspaper over there has suggested that we have inquired about Porto winger Otavio, potentially as a replacement if Richarlison goes. But we've apparently been knocked back and told so we want the Porto wants 60 million, which I for one hope means we go, yeah, forget that then, because I don't think he's a suitable replacement anyway. Like, even if it's for a cut price fee, never mind 60 odd million, which is probably round about what we'll be getting for Richarlison in the first place. He doesn't score enough goals for me. You know, obviously a big part of replacing Richarlison is you need a goal scorer. Yeah, like you say, because he's probably our second biggest contributor to goals behind Calvert-Lewin over the last 3 years. So that's what I mean. You need to replace his goals, and over the years, hasn't really hit the right numbers at all. I think he got 3 in the league last season based on what I've looked at. So yeah, definitely not one for me. I hope that ends any sort of interest we have in Otavio. And then finally, in the Liverpool Echo, it would appear we will be missing out on Manchester United midfielder James Garner. He apparently looks set to return to Nottingham Forest for I think that'll be a third loan spell now. I think he's been there for 2 years on loan now, and it would appear he is returning for one more as they look to retain their status in the Premier League after obviously they got promoted first time in a long time. So all power to him. I think I wasn't entirely keen on the deal in the first place. You know, I'm not sure Garner's exactly what we need. Definitely someone in that position, but I'm not. I think we maybe I don't know. It could have been a good deal. It looks like it's not going to happen now anyway. So we'll see what happens with that, and it would appear we'll have to cast our eyes elsewhere. So but that pretty much rounds up everything today. If you enjoy, please leave a like, comment, leaving your thoughts on some of the rumours suggested. How much do you think we should be getting for Richarlison? Should we be trying to get someone like Lucas in return? Do you think that would be a good deal? Don't get me wrong. I know Lucas is a quality player, and as I mentioned before, would definitely provide the goals. I'm just not entirely sure how much sense a deal for him makes for a club like us. But please feel free to disagree away with me in the comments. You can still find your Everton merch in the description from the Toffee Blue store. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. And that's me. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.